Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. This time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. Sometimes when I'm reasoning about us, I know you got me, it's so effortless. Back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight. No, this time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the FPV News. And welcome to you, Blunty. Good to see you.
Yeah. Welcome to you as well. So we're here on a Tuesday to do the news, like we do almost every Tuesday.
Almost.
For a few years now.
Yeah, we're going to be bringing you the latest developments in the world of FPV. We got a little bit of controversy today about whether DJI is going to honor the warranty of your O3 air unit. We get a little ins and outs there. There are some people who feel like their warranty was rejected unfairly. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, bad DJI news. Are we allowed to do that?
Yes.
I'm being
the
told
producer
that
says it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're the producer. You're the not in this stream, you're not. I was
Well,
thinking, I used to joke that I had an off-screen producer, which I didn't, but I would joke about it. And now sometimes I do have an off-screen producer, but I don't yell at you like I yelled at him. Let's see, what else is coming up tonight? Big news tonight. Ooh, which one you want to take?
Yeah, we've got a RemoteID module coming out. Dronetag is launched. They already had the DRI, which we talked about, but now they've got their hobby-focused RemoteID all-in-one modules, GPS and everything. So we'll show you. We'll talk about that.
People are going to be really excited to see how the size and how it integrates. I think it's going to be very interesting. This is what I found out about this a while back, and when people ask me, should I buy a RemoteID module today? And I say, well, I think some interesting stuff is going to happen between now and September. This is why I've been saying that, so it's going to be interesting. But we're going to start off, as always, with some public service announcements. By the way, before we do that, if you guys I don't like being on screen without Blunty when we're on the news. If you guys want to leave a super chat, we will be monitoring the chats and we will be reading the super chats. If you leave a super chat that is particularly relevant to the story, we may read it. But generally, we're going to hold the super chats for a little bit later in the stream. So regardless, we will be keeping an eye on those, as well as the Discord server, of course, and all of the memes posted over there by Black Jungle. I wish there was a way to just have Black Jungle's memes pop up like automatically whenever he makes one. I'm not sure that would be a good idea, but it does entertain me. I know you think that would be a bad idea.
I mean, I don't mind the memes sometimes, but
Right. You don't want them all the time, though. I think that's fair to say. Okay. Let's, oh yeah, there we go. Let's do some public service announcements. Just real quick. Things that you need to know. You need to know these things.
Yeah. First up, this is my most common fix for people. So I wanted to let people know about this because it's been a real hassle lately. And this hasn't changed for a little while, but people are running into this, getting new hardware and getting into the systems and everything. So if you have a DJI Goggle V2, not the Goggles 2, the DJI Goggle V2, and you need to bind a CADX Vista or an Air unit, you cannot use the latest firmware. The latest firmware only works with the new goggles. DJI said, we're just putting it into the same branch, and we're going to make these not work with your old hardware anymore and only work with the new hardware. It's very frustrating. Everybody thinks they're just like, oh, okay, we'll update everything to the latest. Everything will bind up. We're good to go, just like always. That is not the case. So if you want your Vista or Air unit to work with your Goggles V2, you got to go back to that 0608 firmware, and you'll be all gravy.
Yes, this is infuriating. In fact, a One Eye FPV in the Discord is like, this should be a rant. It very well could be a rant. It's infuriating because somebody, Joe Public, buys a Vista, typically a bind and fly with a Vista in it is how this works. They update the firmware to the latest because, of course, you do. With DJI, you do. And then it won't bind to their V2 goggles, no matter what they do.
Yeah.
And then they don't know why. And DJI has sort of drawn a line in the sand where they're like, this is the last firmware for the V2 goggles and the Vista. It's really weird, though, Blunty, because they're still going to support the Vista with the goggles, too. So they're clearly still doing firmware updates on it.
Yeah. Yeah, they clearly decided, hey, we're only going to do this new stuff, and we're going to dump the old stuff, and you guys can deal with it, pretty much.
Yep, that's what they
and that is a very DJI thing to do over time.
It is. So, there you go. If they won't bind, that's why. And now you know. The next PSA has a helpful resource for people. It is the Repair.wiki. And I'm going to put these links that you gave me on screen, and you can tell the people what you think they ought to know about them. Here, let's zoom in a little bit. What is Repair.wiki?
So Repair.wiki is a big wiki. It's for all kinds of different repair, tablets, phones. Louis Rossman, who we'll mention in a little bit, also has some information here. But basically, this is a big place where you can get all kinds of information about your hardware. Pictures of hardware, fixes, common issues, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of great people have been doing things like adding FPV hardware to this page. So if you wanted to see internals of the Air unit, or maybe you wanted to know how to fix the common issues and where they happen, you can see here, dead, no power. You can see where to check, where the overvoltage happens, what sections, right? There's that regulator is what burns out, and they give you the list. Here we see the no OSD issue, and we've got a diode part number if you wanted to replace it. It shows you where they're located. All these kind of things. And this is done for a variety of different hardware.
Yeah. Here's the HDZero page. Many people out there will not be able to make use of this information because it requires fairly advanced soldering skills, but nevertheless, we think you should know this stuff is out there if you are someone who might have those skills. Or, frankly, let's face it, you got a dead Air unit. What are you going to do? Try to fix it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Brian Lewis points out, Madstech, Ian Lewis put a lot of information on here for FPV, and that is true. I knew that as well. So definitely want to shout him out because he's been doing a lot of that work. So
yeah, he is a hell of a resource just in general. Yeah. Okay, we got another one. This one, we struggled with how to report this. So the way I usually like to approach that type of thing is the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to show the message that we got, and then we're going to try and clarify what actually. So I want you to know when you see this message, this isn't necessarily the exact full whole story. But here's the message that we got.
We'll give you what happened. Basically, he says, I'll just summarize. Basically, he says, I have a DJI Action 2 with a broken LCD, and my DJI MIMO app put in a code on the touchscreen to be connected. However, he has a broken LCD, so he doesn't have a touchscreen to put in this code. And he's saying, basically, his DJI Action 2 won't work anymore. There's no rollback firmware. Rollback firmware doesn't matter because it was the app that got updated. And now he's kind of in this, what he would call a brick state, because he can't get his thing out. He doesn't have it seems like he doesn't have the extra piece to attach that would maybe get you out of this, right? Because the DJI Action 2 you can buy with the extra bit that you plug in, download the SD card info, and you can also get that touchscreen on there to do actions on it.
So the first thing we did is I pulled out my Action 2, which does not have a broken screen because it has never been used for freestyle. If you use an Action 2 for freestyle, you will immediately break the screen. That is the default state. And I actually had never bound it to this phone. So I downloaded the DJI MIMO app and I bound the camera to the MIMO app. And of course, when I did that, the MIMO app showed a validation code and asked me to hit a button, hit OK on the camera. I guess they're trying to prevent you from binding someone's camera or binding to the wrong camera. And I was like, is this new? Because we were like, this guy said, oh, I just downloaded a new app and now it doesn't work. And we looked on the internet and I found a video from over a year ago of somebody binding their DJI Action 2, and it's the same. So I don't think this is new. I think it's always required you to hit a button on screen to bind it. And I'm just guessing this guy forgot or hadn't, he was just... But the
PSA here is that if you have that broken screen on your Action 2, and presumably if you update that MIMO app, or if you somehow lose binding with your MIMO app, and then you get into the situation where you need to rebind, the Action 2 is going to get stuck without that extra piece to attach to actually click on that screen, the extra screen, to hit that button.
Now, there's a couple things I want to say about this. The first is that a lot of times when a touchscreen breaks, the touch panel actually still works. So I don't remember. I think it was like the lower right. But like if you're in this situation, one thing you could do is when the app says press confirm on the phone, just take your camera and kind of go, you never know, it could work. But I think the real workaround would be to own, and I said before the live stream, I was like, well, geez, Blunty, why doesn't the guy own one of these little screens here? Everybody who has a DJI Action 2 for freestyle should have one of these because your screen's going to break. But this damn thing is $169. So, I could see why you might not have that and might be using your phone. Yeah, so, PSA, don't update your MIMO app or you'll have to rebind your camera, and you won't be able to do that if you don't have a screen. Probably, potentially. Steve Trick says this is not a new issue. It has been an issue since the camera came out. Sure, but that's why it's a PSA.
It is currently an issue we've never reported, and we're letting people know.
Yeah, that's right. We don't only report on timely things. We report on anything that's relevant.
Steve he said he plugged in a computer and he was not able to access it. So maybe he was confused.
Plug it into the computer. You can access the files without the code. That's true. But Valenti, did he say that the camera locked up? Like even if he power cycled the camera, he couldn't get it to function again.
Yeah, the camera was basically stuck in this mode where it was asking him to continue on the screen, but he couldn't see the screen. That's what he's suggesting.
That's what he's saying. We weren't able to verify that. Yes. Yeah, he's saying it just keeps putting up that prompt and basically stopped functioning once that prompt appeared. That seems like a pretty big deal if true. Alrighty, those are our PSAs, and we will now head to our big stories of the week. Opening up with a story about claiming the warranty on your O3 air unit. No, did I skip? No, you're right. There's a follow-up. I'm sorry, Blunty. I don't know why I keep doing this, man. I'm going to let you run the titles. I don't know how I would do that, but... Wait.
All right. So
we got
next
one
up,
more.
we have a follow-up. Yeah, we've got a follow-up. It's not a PSA, but it is a follow-up, technically. Kind of a PSA. From last week, we talked about the Orqa thing. Obviously, big story. Everybody knows pretty much. If you didn't know, Orqa goggles bricked. Orqa said it was a ransomware attack. This company, Sworg, who did it, said, hey, they were a contractor and they had a license. And nobody showed anything really other than saying the other people were wrong. But Orqa has been working to fix this. They put out a fix for the goggles, and people are still confused and saying, hey, my goggles aren't working. So we wanted to let you know that Ivan has put out a statement, and Orqa also put it out by email as well, that basically, as of the release of the 3.4 firmware, they believe all the goggles should be fixed. If you have a goggle that is not fixed based on this update to 3.4 or the fixes that they've listed on their site and on Facebook, then you need to contact them and they will try to get it fixed for you. Worst case, you can send it back to them. I mean, they're committed to fixing every single goggle no matter what, and they want to be very clear about that.
Yeah, I got a message from somebody saying, "Oh, I have V1 goggles, and I'm suspicious about the blah blah." The details aren't important. He was concerned that at some point in the future his goggles wouldn't work and he wouldn't be able to fix them. And I was like, "Look, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't think that's going to happen." But Orqa has very, very clearly stated they will take back every set of goggles. If you're not able to unbrick it, they will unbrick it for you at their own cost. They will pay the shipping, and they even said they'd turn them around in under 24 hours. So, I mean, be mad at Orqa that this happened at all, but I don't think you can criticize their commitment to making it right for their customers. I can't imagine what more they could do other than what they're doing. So,
the only criticizing I have to do of Orqa is the same one we have every time we talk about Orqa, which is that Ivan was all over Facebook talking a bunch of smack without any information, like he does every single time. We didn't harp on it last time, but it was the case like every single event that Orqa ever has.
Yeah.
And yeah, also I will mention that we didn't talk about a story 2 weeks ago where Orqa teased a new goggle that they were going to have out in 10 days. Surprisingly,
was it a goggle for sure?
Yeah, and that did not come out. So.
Well, I mean, they have been busy.
Yes, definitely busy.
To be fair.
Just, yeah.
Yeah.
But like always, it's kind of hypey stuff and talking a lot. They made up a bunch of words that didn't necessarily match the things that happened. They called stuff malware, but is it really malware? You know, a lot of things like that. So
they talk a lot of shit.
Way,
they talk a lot of shit.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Well, speaking of people being annoyed, we had some words to say about Orqa that basically amounted to this never should have happened, and how can you trust Orqa if they let this happen? And apparently, we are not alone in having that opinion, because.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So a lot of you have been sending me links to things regarding anti-ownership practices since I've been talking.
Okay, we're not going to watch the whole video. Louis Rossman covered this. That's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he covered this and talked about, obviously, the thing that we all know happened, like we just talked about. Orqa calls it ransomware. Sworg calls it a license agreement. And obviously there's some confusion there. And Lewis's point, I think, is a point that a lot of people have mentioned, which is essentially any company that can allow this to happen to their hardware is a company you do not want to purchase hardware from. Basically, regardless of how this happened, this happened. And that means some dirty contractor was in your system that you didn't have access to, and you let some code in there that you weren't aware of. And regardless of why that happened, how long ago, if you were kickstarted, no matter what, that means that could happen again. And there might be other code on your hardware you're not paying attention to, and he would not buy their hardware. That's what he says.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go that far just because there are only so many choices in the FPV world for hardware to buy.
Right.
Like, it's not like we have a million manufacturers of televisions to pick from. Like think about like the Anchor. Do you remember the Anchor kerfuffle recently?
No.
I don't want to get details wrong, but there were webcams and internet webcams, and then it turned out that they were storing people's data when they said that they wouldn't, and then they were like, "Oh no, it's only limited in scope," and then it turned out it was way wider spread and much worse. And basically, many people looked at that and said, I'm not buying an Anchor webcam, a security system. They're dead to me. Well, okay, you got other choices. There's not as many choices in the FPV world, so I think many people are going to be more willing to forgive this sin than Lewis. But he's not wrong. That this happened at all is it's a big sort of violation of the customer's trust.
Yeah, there's a couple other things too. Leafly points out in chat, which is 100%, or in Discord, which is 100% true. To be fair, Orqa kept that information locked behind a group. My point about them not answering people on their official Facebook page still stands, hence why there's so much confusion. And that's 100% true. One of the biggest faults I had with Orqa during this entire thing is their messaging was great if you were in a private group on Facebook and you have access to Facebook.
Yeah.
If you didn't, it took 3 or 4 days for them to get a blog post up. And then they didn't post another blog yet. The email they sent out is not on their website. Their main page did not post that update that Ivan posted, right? So, like, the last message was Ivan in an email. So that means the group didn't get an update officially from Orqa. Orqa's page didn't get an update, and their website didn't get an update, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and this has been the case over the whole thing, is like these scattered sort of things, and it just points to what we've always said, which is that just get a PR or use your PR people. Like actually run this company. I mean, sorry. I mean, it's easy to say that when you have, when you're not doing it. But I have run multi-million-dollar companies, and their PR is important.
Yeah.
So
people are going to be surprised to hear that you ran a multi-million-dollar company. I wonder, not people who are longtime listeners, but I think a lot of people look at you and go, "Who's that hairy guy that sits next to Bardwell and gets all fired up?"
Yeah. I used to be operations manager for a cannabis facility. That when I left was, I think, $12.5 or $13 million valuation.
Yeah, what was it when you started?
$3 million? $2.5 million?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This guy knows a thing or two. Don't let the beard fool you.
Yeah.
There's another angle to this, Blunty, from Fortune in the Discord, who says, "I can't imagine any military taking them seriously now. Orqa has designs on being like a defense contractor."
So my understanding, I was not able to verify this, but it is difficult to verify because it's military contracts and people don't tell you anything. My understanding is that the military goggles are in a completely different branch of firmware that did not have this brick happen.
Well, why the fuck aren't the consumer goggles getting that level of attention?
I cannot verify that. I couldn't get a source for that. I mean, I didn't ask Orqa, but maybe, I don't know if Orqa will tell me, but
yeah.
Yeah, so that's my understanding anyway, if that's true or not. But at least that would mean they are not seeing that to their own goggles. They're seeing it about consumer goggles, of course. But
yeah, I know. I shouldn't say I know for a fact. I have been told that people in the military in places who sometimes use civilian gear because that's what they have accessible. Of course, I mean, okay, fine. I'm talking about Ukraine, right? They were using Orqa goggles, some of them, and they were not on the military firmware. And I don't know any details about what might have happened, but I imagine they were infected. So,
Sure.
Roperito says, okay, so the military goggles have a different ransomware that hasn't been identified yet.
Yeah. Cosmec suggests that there's zero way the military would allow those blobs that we talked about, like an encrypted blob of code that they weren't aware of, to be in that. But I'm not necessarily sure how well that stuff is audited.
How are you going to audit that?
I haven't worked in military contracts, though, so it's very possible they do have some kind of real auditing for that stuff. But I know that, like, in the government, nobody audits any of that stuff. They just say stuff like that. Nobody actually checks anything. They're just like, here's what you're supposed to do, so they can sue you later.
Right. Yep. Right. Alrighty. Anyway, that's the latest on the Orqa nonsense. When I have FPV, I'm not talking about U.S. military. I was talking about Ukraine or Ukrainian army. U.S. military presumably has, like all official gear. I don't know.
I think I would have to remember. We'd have to go back. I think Orqa is working with Croatian military and also U.S. military. I can't remember offhand, but I believe that's correct.
Killer Zebra says the audits are box checking exercises in most cases. Yeah. The vendor checks the box on the audit, and if it turns out they were wrong, then they get blasted into oblivion.
Yes.
But as long as it doesn't turn out that they were wrong, you're good.
One more thing we need to mention real quick is the comment in response to Louis Rossman that Orqa made on their video. So we should show that as well on his video.
That's exciting. Where's that? On Lewis's video?
Yeah, it's a pinned comment on Lewis's video.
Oh, well, that's very respectful of him. What did he say? What did they say? I mean, they did.
They basically said, hey, fair and reasonable, we'd like to use this opportunity to go on record and state the first time we ever saw Swarg write anything about a license was in the Facebook post, which everyone read on 4/23. So they're doubling, tripling down on the fact that there's no license. They know nothing about this. They can't share any more details. They work very hard to get customers' information back. And they're going to take the goggles back if there's anything wrong. And they want to make sure they reiterate, like, we're sorry, we don't want you to stop being able to use your hardware. We believe the same thing. So.
Yeah. Good response. And I also respect Lewis for not, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to argue with you about this. You can have your say, and then we'll call it done. All right. Well,
all right.
Now we will go to the next story about the O3 air units. And this story surprised me, Blunty, because I've had, and I know I'm not everyone has had a good experience with DJI warranty repair, but the one time when I had a problem with my goggles, I think it was even the V1 goggles, and DJI support was like, yeah, okay, send them back. I mailed them back. They paid for I think they even paid for the shipping. And like 4 days later, I had my goggles back, good as new. I was like, this was pretty nice.
I also had the same experience, which is I had V1 goggles that were like 4 months out of warranty and a screen stopped working. I sent them in. They charged me the $70 fee, no shipping, and sent me back the goggles, or new goggles.
So when I heard that DJI was rejecting warranty claims, I was like, I wouldn't say I was skeptical, but I was like, oh, this is interesting. Tell me more. And the angle here might surprise some of you.
Yeah. So basically, the post is by Stuart Dobson, and he's saying, if you buy an O3 air unit outside, basically, if you buy an O3 air unit in your country, that's the only country it's warranted in, is essentially the post. So he's suggesting that any bind and flies or anybody who buys an O3 air unit to then sell you, so like if you bought an iFlight bind and fly, right? And then you have an O3 in that and you need to do warranty on that O3 air unit, that air unit would not be covered. And this is based on a post that looks like from ST Power Ranger, who was charged, and DJI said it was not under warranty. Also, it says non-EU product on that listing there. It also, if you look on that group post, if we scroll down there, there's a response actually from iFlight.
Okay.
And I think that also puts into
Patrick
context.
Sinar, that's him.
Yeah. And then he says most countries have EU implemented customer protection programs and legal warranty. DJI prefers to not participate but sell O3s for international bind and flies with Chinese serial number codes only. This is to move liability to bind and fly manufacturer or final retailer, which has no chance to RMA it once it's out of China. Breaks the chain, and the retailer or bind and fly manufacturer has to cover 100% of the cost. No manufacturer would dare stand up to DJI. Please think about the next time RMA grants you a free O3 replacement is paid from their own pocket. And we're reading this because this is the head guy at iFlight.
Right. He is. So I mean, he is the public-facing head of iFlight. I think there's another guy behind the scenes, but he makes all the public statements. By the way, again, PR department, Blunty. Good job, iFlight. You have someone who's.
Black Jungle says, don't they have a point? If you assemble a bind and fly with an air unit, now you're responsible for that air unit, right? Like you're responsible for a warranty.
Well, the problem with that is that typically the way that, and yes, he's right, but typically the way that would work is that then, like, think about when Best Buy sells you a GoPro and you bring the GoPro back to Best Buy. Best Buy then determines whether the failure of the GoPro is covered under GoPro's warranty or Best Buy's insurance, and that depends on the type of damage. So normally if you bring back a bind and fly with an O3 and the O3 has a defect, it will be determined whether that defect should be covered under DJI's original warranty or under the manufacturer is responsible for it, depending on how it was damaged. And what iFlight is saying is that DJI then refused. DJI is like, nuh-uh, take it to the manufacturer. And then the manufacturer replaces it, and the manufacturer's like, DJI, do you want to replace this? And DJI like, nope. And just basically says, F you. So he's not wrong, but this is a little different than, it sounds like DJI is just being a little shady here in trying to not warranty these items.
Yeah, Black Jungle says, doesn't Best Buy send it to GoPro themselves? DJI is refusing to take it from that manufacturer. That's the problem here.
That is what iFlight said, I believe.
Yes,
we're not making that fact up, and we have not
Correct.
independently verified that fact. But the head,
Correct.
the public face of iFlight said that, and that's certainly a bold statement if it's not true.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is, by the way, iFlight is saying, hey, when you warranty an 03 through us, we eat that 03. DJI is not replacing that for us. And DJI is saying, not going to take that. So.
Yeah, too bad it has a Chinese serial. We're not going to replace it. So.
And it sounds like there isn't an option, not that manufacturers would do this, but there isn't an option for a manufacturer to say, okay, please sell me 03s with a European serial number so I can sell them to customers in Europe. So the whole thing is like, none of it is inherently ridiculous on its face. But the totality of it is that customers with 03s, if you have an 03 that's in a bind and fly, don't try to claim a DJI warranty on it, is the bottom line.
Or if you do, expect to get refused or maybe get lucky with the right support agent, is where I would guess.
Actually, I could think of, there's something that's always confused me about DJI air units and bind and flies, which is that sometimes they come pre-activated. Like you plug them in and they're already activated. And sometimes you plug them in and they're not activated yet, and then you activate them. And that activation is what associates the air unit with your email account and you get the warranty. And I'll bet the ones that come pre-activated are the ones that like have the Chinese serial number that you're not going to get to claim the warranty on. I've always wondered about that, and now I guess this may explain it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. So, if you buy a bind and fly with an 03 in it, you better hope the company you buy it from is willing to eat it if there's a warranty issue.
Yeah.
There you go. DJI screwing over resellers. Who could have guessed that would happen? Next up, we've got a pretty cool thing. Today, we got an update to WTFOS and particularly to Butter. So for people who don't know, WTFOS is the way you get an OSD on your DJI goggles, DJI goggles V2. You hack them or with the root, and then you get to put WTFOS on them to get the OS, and you get some other features in there. And Butter has been a tool available to roll back. So previously, you couldn't roll back, but they made a tool to go in there and roll back any firmware. So you could roll back to a rootable firmware, and then you could root, and then you could go back up in firmware and do the whole thing. But that got really confusing for a lot of people because there's sort of a mess trying to explain all the versions and all that kind of stuff. And we've done that a couple times. Well, today, June has posted an update, and they've released a new version of Butter. And then a big new thing today is the Butter Super Pack will do the downgrade for you. It will root, and then it will re-upgrade your V2 goggles to the latest version all in one go. So you don't have to worry anymore. What goggles version do I need to be on? What do I need to downgrade to? How do I root? Like all this kind of stuff. It's not going to do it in one simple package. Awesome. Yeah. Worth pointing out that if you've got a procedure for rooting, all of the old procedures still work. It's just that this sort of bundles all of, if you've got a V2 goggle and you don't know what firmware it's on and you don't know what you need to do to root it, but you're kind of worried about firmwares, this process will basically just do it all. It'll give you a rooted goggle on the latest firmware, ready for you to install WTFOS and do what you need to do.
Yeah, for instance, like you had to switch to DIY mode. People were confused. They couldn't get to root. They couldn't get to Butter or root because they were not in the right mode and stuff on their goggles or whatever.
Right.
And now that's all. It automatically switches mode. It shows the version number correctly in the VT goggles. Yeah, and there's just a bunch of different changes here to make it more streamlined for people who are trying to get into this and get confused and lost and then end up in my inbox.
Yeah, right. It's worth pointing out that this is Butter. This is not WTFOS, so you do not do this through the WTFOS website. The process of using Butter is a little bit less. It's a little bit less user friendly, but
my understanding is this is all getting more rolled together over time. But this is sort of the current release. Is like, hey, at least we have a solution to get rid of these firmware woes for now.
Yeah, I helped somebody just 2 days ago. I helped somebody with their DJI goggles, and the bottom line is that we buttered the goggles and then we were able to root them and get them working. And I've run into this issue with Butter. Maybe it should be a PSA. 2 or 3 times now, the drivers that are listed on the GitHub page don't work. And then if I install the driver installer that came with the package in the zip file, it works. Huh. I don't know what that's about. I thought I'd just throw it out there in case it's helpful.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Alrighty. Now I am going to read the correct title and not the one after the one. We got some remote ID. That's going to be hot, right? Everybody loves remote ID.
Oh, man, everybody is excited about remote ID. Jump up and down because it's the remote ID segment you've been waiting on.
The FAA is going to ruin FPV for everyone.
Yeah, some people actually have been waiting on this just so they know like where everything's going to stand at. And this is a great example of, basically where everything's going to be at, or at least one example of that. So today we have Dronetag has launched the BS module, the basic solution to get things done.
The Dronetag BS, come on, you know why they named it that.
Yes, I think we all do. But yeah, the BS module, the basic solution, has coming out, and this has built-in Bluetooth, GPS, everything you need. You just got to slap antennas on it. And then in the future, it's not supported currently, but you'll plug it in, and you can plug it into your flight controller to get UART GPS to your flight controller. That will be supported.
Do we have better pictures here, Blunty? I don't think that picture really... Thank you. Where should I go?
Well, yeah, on that page, you should be able to scroll down and see a few more pictures there in that list.
Nope.
What pictures are you looking for?
I want to see a picture with the GPS plugged into it.
It is the GPS. That's what I'm saying. It's all one. It's all there.
This isn't the one with pass-through? Oh, I was confused. I'm confused.
This is not the one with pass-through. This is the new module.
This is even better. This is even better.
This is the new all-in-one module. The pass-through module's been out for a while. It's called the Dronetag DRI. We talked about that a month or two ago.
Wow. I was like, oh yeah, the Dronetag BS. Yeah, I know what that is. And then I was wrong. This is even better. That's amazing.
All right, so this is the Dronetag BS. This is a small module, 1 gram is what they're calling it. That's not with antennas. Obviously, you'll add antennas, and then a 14 by 17 millimeter, so very small. This will meet the remote ID requirements for you. Like I said, eventually we'll output GPS to your flight controller. Somebody asked, does that mean satellite information will show up on OSD? Yeah, it'll basically work like any other GPS you would use for beta flight. They're just programming that currently. It's not available. This module is also not available yet. It's not like you need one until September. This module will be able to be ordered on May the 22nd, 2023, and now we come to some of the interesting information. Real quick, by the way, this is only 4S. I feel like we should mention that. This is only 4S, not 6S, so you will need a BEC or something if you're doing 6S. So, price is $49. That's what it's going to start at, 49 euros, but $49, I believe, is also the US price. That starts on May 22nd, and you have to order that day to get that price. Otherwise, it goes up to $89. And people were saying, hey, man, the FAA said this was going to be cheap. What's going on? So Lucas Virtual today in the FPV FC Discord let us know that, unfortunately, $49 does not even cover the manufacturing cost. They would need to sell tens of thousands of units to make commercial sense at $49. If we have enough traction, we decrease the price. If somebody launches a better product, we'll just close the product branch because we don't need to make it, basically. It's basically they have an add-on product. They're trying to satisfy the market the best they can. This is what they feel the best they can do, and they're being clear about why the price is where it is.
Yeah. I almost think that the DRI is a better unit because it's going to use an existing GPS receiver that's already sort of mounted. I don't need to mount a separate antenna. I have 3D prints already to mount a GPS, and it'll just sit inline.
What percent of pilots do you think have a GPS on their quad, though? I've never used a GPS.
Granted, but...
I don't even know how to set up a GPS.
Fair enough. I've already got 3D prints to hold a GPS unit, right? So how am I going to mount this antenna for this unit? I think it's... Sure. I guess I'll make a 3D print for this antenna, I suppose.
Well, I think you would use the DRI in that case. I think both are going to be available options for you.
Yeah, I think the DRI is going to be appealing to some people.
Yeah. The DRI is about the same price, and you don't get the... I guess it's $49 now, but when it goes up, it'll be $49 for the DRI, but you have to add a GPS versus $89 for the one that includes the GPS, but you need to add antennas.
Well, it's good. It's good that there's options for both. There's a question here. Who asked the question? I don't see who asked it. Oh, NeoFlyer wants to know, do you pay a monthly fee for the tag? No. This is, you just pay one time, and then it just works. Mad Max wants to know, how much power does the law say it has to transmit with? Blunty, are there requirements about the range or output power of this device?
Yeah, so number one, they're complicated. Number two, they're behind a paywall document that I'm not allowed to publicly tell you about. Because it's an ASTM document, and we had to pay to get access to it. I have access because I'm a member of the FPV Freedom Coalition. But suffice to say, it is extremely general. There is a table of requirements, but they're not technically requirements. They are. It's essentially says something like, do the best you can. Because they don't know what modules you can buy. So that's the whole problem here, right? Like the FAA didn't. So the groups made this, the ASTM. The groups got together and made this ASTM standard. However, they don't know, like, today, what module you're going to be able to buy to put in here. And they're not going to be able to go through every single module, vet power, settings, distance, all those things. So that means it's got to be up to the people who build them.
Great.
And there's variants on all this equipment. So essentially it becomes, do the best you can, buy what's available, and hopefully broadcast far enough. It's sort of how it works. I mean, there are technically powered requirements, but we're going to see vastly huge differences on distance. Like Wi-Fi beacon is allowed, but Bluetooth 5 long range is also allowed. Like the power is defined, but not exactly. If you could see the document, I'm sorry, I can't directly share, but if you could see the document, you would have more information.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you for that, telling us what you can. Wesley Vardy says, is there a spec for what range should generally be expected? Sounds like no.
I would guess like 1 kilometer.
Okay. That's a round number.
Yeah. I'm going to guess you're going to see Chinese modules do like 300 feet, and then you're going to see like hardcore modules, get a couple kilometers or more. So.
Black Jungle's on fire today. I wish you guys could see. I wish I could show you all the memes, but he's on fire with the memes over on the Discord server today. This is fire. I love it because I'm assuming it's a Harambe reference, which makes it even better. If that's not a Harambe reference, it should be.
As a Harambe reference, but okay.
Well, I mean, it's a gorilla who is ceasing to exist. I feel like that has to be a Harambe reference. Otherwise, why would it be a gorilla? But anyway, you're on fire today, Black Jungle. Thank you for that. All right, it's time for us to do our plugs, where we've gone a little bit long today. We usually do the plugs at the bottom of the hour, but it is what it is. And we're going to plug our own stuff. I'm tired of. I'm not even going to say the name. I'm not saying of who I'm tired of, but it's time we go back to plugging our own stuff, Blunty. No offense.
We're not tired of them. We're just.
I'm tired. No, you're right.
All right.
I'm just, but
everything is fine.
Yeah, everything is fine. I'm trying to.
Today it's our own plugs. And
I'm trying to start shit. Why you got to do that?
I guess that's just what I feel like my job is. Okay. First plug is fpvknowitall.com, which is your website.
Oh, yeah, sure is.
Where you can find the ultimate FPV shopping list, and you could figure out what you want. And somebody the other day, JB, I sent them right to your website because they said, hey, how do I get sub 250 grams? Like, where am I going to build sub 250 grams? How do I figure out parts for that?
You damn right.
Build for it together.
Right here.
And I was like, I've got a perfect place for you.
Yeah.
It's your page for sub 250.
Yeah. Go ahead, continue.
Okay. Yeah, so you could, next up is ItsBlunty.com.
Yeah, that's right. ItsBlunty.com. Where you can get Blunty to help you with your problems. You could get him to book a session with him for just $50 an hour flat rate. He will help you solve your FPV problems, get on you with TeamViewer or Zoom or whatever you like. And it's pretty gosh darn reasonable rate. He'll even try to help you for free. But not get on the phone with you. It's Blunty.com. You can sign up right there. And then
next up, we've got the Joshua Bardwell live stream clips channel, which is where we post 4 clips a day. from all the different Q&A streams you do, the Monday and Sunday Q&A streams you do, and then also the Tuesday news. We put clips from all these things onto the channel, so if you missed them, you can check them out and get that information.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely have you. Oh, are we over 10K yet? 9.3K. We're almost. We should do something special when we hit 10K. And then last of all, I want to let you guys know about searchfpv.com. Searchfpv.com is a multi-store FPV search engine. You can search in different regions. You can even search for products that are in stock only. Dronetag BS. No one's going to have that, but we can do a search. We can find out that no one has it. Alrighty. So those are the things we want you to know about. All right, and now we will come back to the news.
Yeah.
I really was tempted. I decided not to. I was tempted to like come back from the bit and like have my face buried in keto chow. But I felt like that would make a big mess and I'd have to sit through the rest of the live stream with like dried keto chow on my face. And in the moment, it wasn't worth it.
All right.
Like do a line of keto chow or something. Okay. Continuing with the
All right. Next up, we're back to the normal stream. We're done with plugs, and the first thing we've got is a cinematic of the week. I wasn't necessarily sure how to title this one. I just titled it Mountains.
Mountains.
So check it out.
Okay, and you got a timestamp here, so we're going to come right in. As usual, this is a 27-minute video. Okay, well, we definitely aren't going to show the whole thing. There's a link to this down in the video description, of course. And we would love for you to go give Neil FPV a view or maybe a subscriber. 564 subscribers. Sure, let's get in there, Neil.
Those are rookie numbers. Let's pump those numbers up.
Let's pump those numbers up. This is beautiful. This is
beautiful scenery, great area, wonderful shots. The Nevada land.
Yeah. Do we know what camera he's using?
Let's see.
I don't know if it says. Oh wow, is this all just like one flight, Blunty? Is this no cuts? Holy shit.
I believe so. I'm not.
This is a 30-minute video that's just one flight, no cuts. This is either brilliant or like, dude, get an editor. So far, I'm leaning towards brilliant. This is great. I love the wide angle. That's why I'm curious about the camera. I wonder if this is the 03 or the Action, maybe. It's a really wide angle, but it's working for me. Jeez, this is gorgeous. I don't see where
he mentions it. He mentions it's 4K, and then he has gyro flow. But yeah, he does not mention the camera.
It's really just no cuts. I mean, I guess this feels like so relaxing. A lot of times I'd be like, "Oh my God, cut out the boring stuff and just give me the highlights." But like the whole thing is just like I just kind of want to zone out to it. It's great. It's not Sam is 90. Oh, there's a fade. Okay, fair enough. Still. 99% sure that's an Action 2 says it's not Sam. It feels like it is. Where the hell is this? This is crazy. Oh, get down in there. Get down in there. Oh, I kind of wanted to see that shot in organically. That's nice. This is really nice. Yeah. Neil Kamara. Good job, dude. There's a link to that if you want to watch more of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we flip the next two? Is that possibly trigger?
Can I not flip the next two? Is it even possible that I wouldn't skip the next one? Let's see if I can do this right. No. How about this one? Yeah.
There we go. Great. And we've got one more. We didn't consider it a cinematic of the week, but it is a cinema style thing of the week. And definitely something I've never seen before. We've got somebody who put a Super 8 on a drone.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know.
Yeah, well, the kids don't know what a Super 8 is, Blunty. What's a Super 8?
All I know is it's an old-looking camera. That's about all I know.
It's a film camera, isn't it?
Yes, for sure. I'm just not sure why it's, yeah.
It's like 8mm. Yeah, so this is an old, like one of the oldest microflex sensor. Is this a film camera? Is this literally Super 8? Wow. It looks like it.
He develops a Super 8 film himself. So yeah.
So this is one of the first sort of portable handheld video cameras. Before like VHS or Beta Max, they would shoot this BS. You know, your dad would bring it on your family vacation if you were like super rich, and would shoot these Super 8 videos. And of course, the quality is terrible because it's a tiny film, but like the ability to do this at all was pretty revolutionary. I love the presentation. Like, how does he scan this in? I want to know. How does he scan in the film? That's crazy. Like, I really dig this.
Yeah, it has a really cool vibe to it.
You could like try to fake this digitally, but like the fact that he did it for real. It's crazy. Does he have a chapter about, like, how I do it? Projection. Oh, he just projected it. He projected it and just recorded it with a digital camera. That's how he imported the film. Like, there's no digitizer for a Super 8 film. That's really touching. Touching is the word that's coming to my mind. It's so weird to see FPV footage on a freaking Super 8 projector screen like it's the 60s, the 70s, right, or whenever.
Well, what this reminded me of was that video we've talked about years ago, which was how I flew FPV in the 70s.
Yeah.
Right? Is that
like,
right?
This is footage that in some ways shouldn't exist. Like you couldn't have gotten 80s. This footage with the original Super 8 cameras in the time that it was made. That's really, really cool. That's really cool. Jay says, I got it. I scanned it with a film lab. I had it scanned. Oh, we did have it scanned in. Somewhere out there, there's a service that'll scan a Super 8 reel for you. Interesting.
Nice.
All right. Well,
next
it's
up
time.
We got a spotlight.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we got a spotlight on a creator, Steph263, and this is submitted by somebody else, so I don't even know if they know. They got submitted, but we did want to share this because it seemed kind of cool. It's a 3D print of a Mario Kart Cinewhoop.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to find. I looked all over I checked his channel and stuff. Had some other people who know French look for me. And nobody could find this built basically in flying, but it does look like there were some versions printed and stuff. So this seems pretty cool. We wanted to shout him out because I bet this wasn't super easy.
Yeah. Nice. Very nice.
And then as a bonus, I also noticed that there used to be a Mario Cinewhoop for sale. I don't know if you remember this existing, but this is a French Cinewhoop back in 2016. You could buy with money.
Quadrocopter. Oh, this is probably a translation. Who made this? Is this like an official Nintendo product?
No, I don't think so. And that's why I was surprised to see it. At least as far as I could tell, it wasn't official, but...
I mean, there's the Mario Kart 8
Mario
logo.
Kart 8 is on there.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily... I just don't see how Nintendo wouldn't sue this out of existence. It says Nintendo Mario TM Copter. That seems awfully official.
True.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Fortune really says, cool. It's a me, litigation. That's Nintendo for you.
Yes,
for sure.
Indeed. Alrighty, Blunty. Well, it's time for us to read the Super Chats. Thank you guys who Super Chat us. That does mean a lot. Time for Flight. Thank you for a $5 Super Chat. Some of these are questions. I'm happy for your Super Chats. We will answer your questions. This is not technically a Q&A stream, but it is what it is. The customer is always right. Right, Blunty? That's what they say.
That's
I am building the Recon 10 Pro frame. Any ideas on motor sizes and ESC flight controller? I was thinking the Zing 2 3110 or the Xnova 3215. Oof. That's a little outside my wheelhouse. I know that like a 28 or 30 millimeter motor is just fine for 7-inch. So 31 or 32 feels in the ballpark of correct for 10-inch. Blunty, do you have an opinion?
I have no idea.
Yeah, okay. Me neither.
Way out of my the farthest out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I don't. So flight controller doesn't matter. ESC, you're going to need to be able to handle the amps. The actual amps that the ESC is going to need to provide is going to depend a lot on the type of build you're doing. I'm afraid that a 10-inch like that is a little outside. What I would do is a Beast class is 10-inch, isn't it?
I don't remember. I have a lot of trouble with X class versus a Beast class.
I think a Beast class is 10-inch.
Seems very
Beast class build to order.
Malleable.
Let's look at my answer is always look at what other people are doing. 13. That's 13-inch. Damn. No, you're right. A Beast class is an X class scaled down, but still with 13-inch props. Shoot. What motor is he using? 4220. Okay, that's a way bigger motor. What about a what do they call it? I can't remember what they call the 10-inch size. Okay, that's the best we're gonna do. We don't 100% know, but thank you for the donation. I think you're close to correct, just based on what I know about 7-inch. I'll do one more thing. Because I can't bear not helping. Let's look on rotor builds and parts, propellers. We're gonna look for people who use 10-inch propellers. Can I sort by size? Propellers, sort by, no. 7 by 4 by 3. We got any 10 inches here? No. Damn it. That's the best I can do, but I'm not finding them. I'm not finding any 10-inch builds. I'm sorry. All right, that's it. I got nothing for you. I'm sorry. I tried. IBRCN2, thank you for 220 Canadian. Can I use the same size motors with different KV? Yeah, absolutely. You just will. All of the other motors will be limited by the power of the lowest KV motor. Callie FPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. I spoke to DJI customer service today about another problem and confirmed V2s are no longer in production. That's cool, Callie, but DJI customer support is completely useless for actually making official statements about what DJI is going to do. It's nice when they confirm what we think we already know, but then half the time they dispute it, and half the time they're right, and half the time they're wrong. It's a very, very small data point.
Bad.
Yeah,
track record is very bad.
Customer support is useless. I mean, for predicting DJI's behavior. For helping you with your problems, they're not useless. FPV Dreamer Mike's, thanks for a $5 per chat. Just about to buy a DJI Goggle 2, but cruising long distance, so what's better for range? The Goggles 2 will get you out to about 20 to 23 kilometers on the stock antennas under ideal conditions. If you need to go less than 20 kilometers or you are not under ideal conditions, then you should think about... I mean, the V2 goggles are better with aftermarket antennas.
You're still not going to get any farther on 03 than 23 kilometers. So as far as I know, that is the limit, right?
Correct. That's a hard limit on 03. Yeah. The V2 actually are going to cap at 13 kilometers, now that I think about it. Oops.
Wait, did we ever figure out if it changes if you use the different thing on the different device? We talked about that one time.
You mean if you use it with the Goggles 2 and update the firmware?
Right. Like, so if you use a Vista with the goggles. So if you use a Vista with the Goggles 2, do you get 23? And then if you use a 03 with the Goggles V2, do you only get 13?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Okay. If you need to go more than about 20 kilometers, then you're going to be looking at analog, HDZero, or walk snail. But for a lot of people, quote unquote long range, the 03 is going to be a great choice. Scott Milano, thanks for a $10 super chat. He says, you recommended Magnus Meat Boy And I see you watch many a true nerd. What are your favorite non-FPV channels on YouTube? Well, I'll show my screen, Blunty. Who do I watch on YouTube? Let's see. Oh, there's Ken Heron. Oh my goodness. Let's see. We got Linus Tech Tips, Legal, Corridor Digital, Spiffing Brit. Let's see. Joshua Bardwell livestream clips. Veritasium. Captain Disillusion is the best. Too bad he only posts once a year. Video Game Donkey. Gerald Undone for video gear. Practical Engineering is amazing. Technology Connections. First We Feast. I don't know, Blunty, you want to read off some of yours?
Sure. Definitely Technology Connections is on there too. Computer File. Curious Mark. If you don't know Curious Mark, he's been rebuilding all the hardware from the Apollo missions, the actual hardware, and they've been making it all work together again.
Wow.
It's incredibly deep and amazing. Practical Engineering. Fish with Carl is a great channel. I love carp fishing. I love to watch that. Smarter Every Day is a wonderful channel. If you don't watch Smarter Every Day,
I do
amazing.
watch them.
William Osman, excellent channel. Bald and Bankrupt, awesome foreign country tours and stuff. He sees all kinds of great stuff. Let's see. Yeah, that's a little summary there.
I got a suggestion from Mr. Huggy, who reminds me that I reviewed the Catalyst Machine Works America 9-inch. Let's see what size motors it uses. The Macro America. Come on, baby. I still want to help this person out with their build. Have we got... Is this a bind and fly? Motor size. Come on, give me the motor size. Specs. Motors supported. 2812, 2813, 3115, 3220 or similar. Okay, so that's a confirmation for a 9-inch that the around the 28 to 31 size is good. I think that probably on 10-inch props you'd be okay with. You've got the 3110 or the 3215. Seems to me like the 3215 is the place to be, since 3110 is still a little small compared to what they're recommending. Seems like 3110 would be good for like a 9-inch maybe. And 3215 is going to be more close to correct for 10-inch. Well, we'll get you closer to an answer. Thanks for reminding me about that. Zenny, thanks for €5. How do you think the AOS 3.5 flies? Does it really fly like a 5-inch? Zenny, I have to say I haven't flown the AOS 3.5. So, does it fly like a 5-inch? No. Now, how can I say that when I haven't flown it? Because a 3.5-inch doesn't fly like a 5-inch. It flies like a 3.5-inch. There are ways in which a 3.5-inch can be closer to a 5-inch. Like, for example, the AOS 3.5 is a little heavier than some other 3-inch or 3.5-inch, so you get a disc loading that's closer to a 5-inch. At the end of the day, it flies like a 3.5-inch, and that's fine. But people say, oh, it flies just like a 5-inch. Physics doesn't work that way. So, that's an exaggeration. Thoughts, Plenty? Any thoughts about that?
No, I think that's right.
Okay. Why 3.5 and not just 3-inch? The bigger props make it act more like a 5-inch than a micro, in my opinion. I'd take 3.5-inch over 3-inch props. So then why not 4-inch? Well, you're starting to overtax the motors and compromise durability and add weight at that point. David Barfield, thanks for a $5 super chat. MultiGP Global Qualifier Alert, Columbus Multi-Rotor Club, May 27th at 10:30 a.m. Fair enough. David Barfield, also thank you. I got the package you sent me. David sent me a little gift, a little timer, and some other stuff from Columbus Multi-Rotor. So thank you, David. Aaron Ward, thanks for a $5 super chat. How do you feel about the DJI Avata for a first-time flyer? My girlfriend wants to get into FPV. She's scared to fly my freestyle drone. I think a lot of my viewers are going to be annoyed, but I think that's not a terrible choice. The Avata's a really solid platform for what it is. Is it a pure FPV drone? No. But like, compared to the Potato, the Avata is a little easier to fly and a little more durable. And starting somebody off just enjoying the goggles and with a fully assisted flight mode and then slowly transitioning them all the way potentially to manual, I don't think that's a terrible choice if what you want is an Avata. Especially if your girlfriend kind of doesn't like flying, doesn't like crashing, you know. Maybe she doesn't want that. Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible choice. But it's a way better choice than something like a Mavic, right? Yeah. Or even a Mini. Frankly, even a Mini. It's a better choice. Okay, we're caught up on Superchats, Blunty. Where to now?
All right, now it's time for It's Barely News, which is how we end the streams, where we go through the news that didn't quite make it to the big news, but we want to let you know about it anyway. So that means it is still news, and that means it's barely news. Okay, So first story up is going to be a new thing from HDZero we want to shout out. HDZero has available on their website an HDZero VTX programmer. So for $15, you can buy this little thing, plug it into USB-C on your computer, and then you get a little app to update your VTX over the internet. And you basically can use local firmware or do over the internet firmware. It'll automatically pull it in. You can choose any of your VTX types. By the time you get this, it should auto detect your VTX for you. So you just click auto detect and it's good to go. And it flashes right there. So super simple.
Yeah, this is nice because plugging the VTX into the goggles is a gigantic pain in the ass. Just like it's like the most annoying part of owning HDZero system. So now you can update the firmware on your VTXs without putting the firmware on your SD card, putting the SD card in the goggles, plugging the VTX into the goggles, and then somehow making all that work. So thank you. Well worth $15 in my opinion. Oh, we can't show this next one, right?
Well, we can show the page. Like we'll show the website, but we won't show the video of it. Okay. So DJI drone has been used in TNT basketball, and people are, some people like it and some people don't. Basically, again, we won't show the video, but in some shots, the drone was like in the other shots, and when they transitioned in and out, it was pretty rough. They basically used a Mavic, it looked like Mavic Mini maybe even, to just go back and forth like side shots along the court side. So yeah, I don't know. Lots of mixed reactions. A lot of people really not liking it. So.
Sure, the drone in full view is annoying, but don't worry, the picture it captures is awful. Okay, I gotta look. I want to look. I'm gonna look at it. I can't show it because we'll get a copyright strike, or they'll take our video or whatever. But I have to see this. So Blunty, I gotta mute. Hold on, I'm gonna mute real quick. Okay, I'm gonna mute this. Okay, now it's muted. Blunty, you're unmuted. I want to see this drone shot. Okay, they're playing basketball, right? Okay, we got there's the drone. The drone is hovering. Yeah. Yeah. It's not okay. Oh, and here's the drone angle. It's not that. I don't feel like they're.
It looks like a bad wire cam. That's like how
it does. That's what it looks like. They're not out there. It's not like I remember. Was it the American Football League? I think that might have been the AFL who had a Cinewhoop on the field during plays, and so like you're like right there over the quarterback's shoulder, and you're I was like, oh, I mean, there's some kinks to work out, but you're really bringing something to the experience. This is just like a Mavic hovering at the sideline and then going down the court as the play progresses. Not that interesting. But hey, it's a drone, so good.
Yeah.
Next up,
the FAA has announced the Counter UAS Aviation Rulemaking Committee, and as the name might suggest, this is the committee that will talk about how to essentially mitigate risks for drones. So hostile or errant US, this will also be like safe and efficient operation around areas, the entire airspace and stuff. And they've announced a list of members here. You can see the members in that PDF. And unfortunately, the only CBO listed there, the only recreational representation that I see on that list is the And so we have pushed, we've specifically requested to the right people in the FAA to join this rulemaking committee. We had done this previously. We were not a member. So yeah, we are hoping to get added to this ARC so we can attend and make sure that we fighting for the rec pilots.
I was annoyed until I read this comment from Killer Zebra. Not surprising, the AMA has joined the counter UAS ARC. They've been doing counter UAS operations at their flying fields for years.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah, hopefully we will get added to this, and we've definitely talked to everybody. I think we can, we're talking to everybody we can talk to try to be a part. So,
alrighty.
We'll keep you updated.
Next up, we are going to look at the Pterodynamics XP4 Transwing sizzle video.
A sizzle video.
Will we get Pterodynamics surely won't copy strike us. Let's show the sizzle
video. This is an
video.
ad, so I think they'll be happy to have us show this. Yes. So they've developed a new VTOL design that I have not seen before.
Well, damn.
If you skip to about like 20 seconds in.
Okay, I will. We're almost there.
Like you're there. Okay.
So it looks like a folding wing VTOL design. Takes off like a quadcopter with the wings folded.
Yes.
I'm intrigued. What's it gonna do? Whoa.
Essentially tilts forward into flight and then slowly transitions into wing fold out.
I see. So the motors aren't on like servos or anything. The motors are rigidly affixed to the wings. The wings rotate into flight position. That is pretty cool. Oh, it looks cool too. Wow. That's pretty cool. Oh, now we have a drone shot inside their office. Cute. That is really cool. How long until somebody makes one of these with ArduPilot? Right?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, I'd love to see some custom drones with these. That would be great.
That is really cool.
So my understanding is they're looking at this for advanced air mobility. So this is like a demo, but advanced air mobility means like taxis for people in, these drones. Mm-hmm. So like these big UAS. So I think this will be like a plan for them to build a giant version of, and then hopefully it will be something that they can move people in. That's their goal. So.
Yeah, it certainly negates one of the advantages of a multi-rotor, which is, what I mean is that if you got a multi-rotor, and you want to like stop, you just can stop and hover in midair. But something like this has to transition the wings to vertical before it can do that, and it's not going to be able to do that very rapidly. But can it glide? Can it glide? Like theoretically, it can glide, so. Right?
Yeah, it has to be able to get glide, right?
Okay,
yeah.
Sold. Winning.
As soon as it pops into that wing mode, it's got to be able to glide, right? So your only risk would be takeoff and landing, essentially.
That's really cool.
And then you could have motor redundancy even on like a full one.
Well,
so,
and right. So if you're in fixed wing mode and you lose a motor, hey, great, you still flying.
Yes.
Now you have to land like an airplane instead of a VTOL. But hey,
falling out of the air.
Oh, this is badass. This is really badass.
Really cool idea. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, our favorite things to show on on It's Barely News are dogs being rescued by drones, and we've got 2 of them this week. Aren't you glad you stuck around to the very end? Oh my God, it's 7:15. We're 15 minutes over. Aren't you glad you stayed? Here's what we got.
Yeah, the first one we've got up is there were some lost dogs found with a thermal drone. We always like to show these because it's really cool to see these drones in action, and we want to show off how great they are at finding lost stuff like pups.
Oh, look at those little babies! Oh, a coyote would just... Oh my goodness, we have to rescue them. And they're using a thermal camera. That's pretty cool. Very useful for this kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think for these kind of operations, it's really key to have some kind of thermal camera.
We got it. We got the dog. We found him. Where is it? How did they even find it at that distance? Jesus.
It's a long video. They go through the whole kind of operation so we can see them come back together. get that comparison. But yeah, it's pretty cool for them to see that far away.
That is really
basically nailed the white hot, I guess, with the thermal, and then we're able to zoom in with the real camera and get a comparison.
And then we got a link in the video description if you want to watch the whole thing. Then here comes the human, and the doggo is wagging its tail. Oh, it's so happy we found him. And now they're giving the doggos treats. Oh, there's 2 doggos. Yeah, there they are. I'm sure they're giving the doggos treats. And the doggos are home again. Oh, yes. Well-deserved rest. See? Drones save doggos. Okay, well. We got one more.
Yeah, we got one more doggo that got saved. Yeah, this is a lost bloodhound they found using a thermal drone as well. These guys do drone deer recovery, where they go out with their drone and they find deer that they shot or somebody else shot, so they can make sure that they locate them and they're not like missing, that sort of thing. That's at least my understanding what they do. And in this one, the dog actually got away from him. One of the bloodhounds got away from him in a hunting trip. So they came out with the thermal drone, and instead of looking for the deer, they're looking for the dog.
Yeah. Oh, and there they are. No, they don't have a thermal camera, so they got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, they had a thermal in there. I don't know if they just don't have that view showing. Yeah, but they were able to use a thermal.
And there they are, though. We got the dog. And we rescue the dog? Where's the doggo rescue? We're going to get the dog. Oh, we get first person of the doggo being rescued. Yeah, pull up your pants, buddy. Get a belt. You need a belt. You can't be out in the woods without a belt. Maybe some suspenders.
That's a life lesson. Don't go in the woods without a belt.
Yeah. Suspenders, maybe.
Excellent camera work.
Yeah. Yep. If I get a doggo at the end, it's all worth it. Come on. I don't want to skip ahead and miss it. Where's the... Oh, there's the doggo. Yay. He's like, hey, guys, what's up? Just chilling. Oh, are you worried? No, I'm good. Oh, wait, is he tied to something? Has he got entangled?
Oh, yeah, I think he had a leash on. He got caught. Yep.
Oh, no. Now I think the whole thing was faked. Just faked. They tied him up out there. Well, people do that. I'm not just being cynical. Anyway.
All right.
Alrighty. Well, that is going to bring us to the end of the news. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any submissions or stories that you think we need to cover, make sure to email news@fpvknowitall.com.
Yeah.
And even if you think, oh, surely somebody sent that in, send it in. We don't mind to get multiples. You never know.
Yeah, I'm happy to see it again.
All right. But that is going to do it for today. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Oh, real quick.
Maybe we'll have another Keto Chow sponsorship.
You don't have a stream on Sunday, right?
What the hell? Well, I don't know.
People?
I mean, we should. But let me check my calendar. This Sunday, the 14th, I do have a stream. I think.
Right. Okay.
It is next weekend.
Jump the gun.
Not this week.
Yep.
Is Rotor Riot Rampage, the 19th, 20th, etc. So that weekend I won't be streaming. But
okay.
Nope, we're still good.
Well, we'll see you next Sunday for the Q&A, next Tuesday for the news.
All righty. Bye, everybody.
Later, guys.